Edmond Connors decided that he wanted to kill himself this morning. There was no great reason for it. He simply wanted to die. He woke up that morning with a sense of unease in his chest and realized that it was dark outside. It was overcast. Rain was approaching. Bellows of thunder boomed in the distance that sounded like shouting giants. The thunder clapped, crackled, and then turned into a deafening growl. Edmond heard the noise and felt it reverberate through his chest, tingling his skin. Hungry, Edmond thought. His voice was listless. I need to eat breakfast first. He got out of bed and went to the bathroom. There, he brushed his teeth, washed his face, and stared at himself in the mirror. What he saw in the mirror then made him sigh out loud and feel tired all over again. His cheeks were fat, bulging mounds of hanging flabs swelled his neck and chin. Thin, unshaven white-brown bristles covered his face, while deep vertical lines appeared near his mouth. His lips were cracked. His hair, disheveled and unkempt, gathered in clumps and curls in some parts and thinning in other areas. Rusty, tired red filled his eyes. Dandruff covered his shoulders. No great loss, Edmond thought quietly. He rubbed his cheeks as he examined himself. The color of his tired eyes disgusted him. I am never a great loss. He exited the bathroom and heard a rumble of thunder. The noise reminded him of a purring kitten. Edmond entered the kitchen and decided that he would kill himself after breakfast. He also decided that he would kill himself once the rain began. He wanted Cheerios to eat. A bowl of Cheerios was one of the few pleasures Edmond still had in life. He liked to eat his Cheerios with cold milk and chunks of bananas in it. He liked to munch on the stale, tasteless cardboard flavors of soggy Cheerios, taste the munchy, sweet presence of soft, milk-soaked bananas, and then drink the cold milk that was left over in the bowl. Sometimes Edmond liked to eat his Cheerios with avocados, but he hadn't had avocados in a long, long time. Avocados were sometimes difficult to cut. Will there be a rainbow after the rain? Edmond got a bowl. He grabbed some milk, got his box of Cheerios, and then stopped when he realized he had no more bananas. A frown went to Edmond's face. Sadness cut into his heart. After breakfast, he thought quietly. He poured the Cheerios into the bowl. I'll do it after breakfast. Edmond walked over and sat at the table. He looked at his bowl of Cheerios and felt a longing sensation in his chest. He sighed then. It was a bitter sigh. He took a bite of his cereal and tried to feel better, but as he chewed, depression overcame him, making his Cheerios taste sour, different, and foreign. As he sat there eating, Edmond heard the thunder again, once more shouting in the distance, growling with fury. The hairs on the back of his neck stiffened while the heart in his chest, his heart, of course, beat faster and faster. This tastes good, Edmond thought. He paused. Tears welled in his eyes. His jaw clenched while his throat tightened. He looked down at his bowl of Cheerios and forced himself to swallow. A sad, distressing look went to his face. No, this doesn't taste good. Why did I just lie? This doesn't have bananas in it, and it doesn't taste good at all. Edmund continued eating his Cheerios and waiting for the rain. He thought about his revolver upstairs and wondered if he should leave a note. He had no one to whom he could write. Perhaps he should write to his neighbor, or maybe he should write to the police who would find him. That he had very few people he could write to saddened Edmund, and at that moment he stopped eating his Cheerios, pursed his lips, and stared at the windows. It's fine, Edmund thought to himself. He let out another morbid sigh. It's better this way. No one cares. No one cared before, anyway. He finished his cereal. He put the bowl in the sink, rubbed his face, and then went upstairs to retrieve his revolver. He had a Charter Arms Bulldog 44 in his bedroom. It was a small gun. He retrieved the revolver from his sock drawer, gathered the bullets, and then returned to the kitchen. He sat back down at the table. No letter, Edmund thought. He loaded the bullets into the revolver. No one would want to read it. It'll just be a waste of time for everyone. Edmund closed his eyes. He heard the thunder again, and once more waited for the rain to begin. Although he was sad then, and tired, and bitter, he was glad to be holding his gun. He was glad that his eyes were closed, and he was glad that he was now finally doing something he had planned to do long ago. The thought of keeping his eyes closed, of never opening them again, filled Edmund with subtle calmness. It would feel good to rest. It would feel good to sleep to the sound of rain. No great loss, Edmund thought. He sounded almost happy as he thought this. No one cared, and no one will care that I'm gone. That's just how life works. I just wish I had bananas with my Cheerios one last time. Thunder roared. Edmund took a deep breath and licked his lips. His heart beat faster in his chest, sounding like a drum, going dum-dum, 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 with steady, uninterrupted rhythm. Sweat formed on his brow. Thirsty, Edmund thought randomly. I wish I had a drink. Dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. Edmund rubbed his face. Though his heart bounced wildly then, he was composed and reassured, confident of what was about to happen. Dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. Edmund brought the revolver to his head. He aimed the barrel at his temple. Dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. Soon, he thought. Any minute now. Once the rain starts. Dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. He waited. And waited. And waited. What? Edmund snapped his eyes open. He lowered the revolver, looked around, and suddenly felt cold. Goose flesh prickled his skin. An explosion of thunder sounded, making Edmund jerk in his seat. He glanced at the windows, felt his heart drop, and gasped as if presented with a horrible, shocking image. The light had changed. It had brightened. What? Edmund stared. He waited for the rain, waited to hear it fall so that he could kill himself. And after several long seconds of thunder, of the rumbling, the shouting, and the cannonades, there was nothing. Nothing at all. Impossible. Edmund got up from his chair. His heart throbbed in its chest, but this time it was filled with angst and fear. He went to the windows and peered through the blinds. He saw light overhead interspersed with an ocean of gray. The clouds had thinned, had begun to dissolve and dissipate, and they now appeared like waning ghosts before brightening skies. A sharp beam of light from the north shone through the cloud cover, appearing white and heavenly with blinding luminescence. It's going, Edmund thought breathlessly. He winced in the light. The rain. It's really going. There was one last sound of thunder. It was a roar. Then a grumble. And then, finally, a memory. Edmund stared at the outside and felt his skin warm. The light was good, though it hurt his eyes. He pulled back from the window, turned around, and saw his revolver on the table. He blinked. He felt as if the gun stared back at him. He glanced toward the kitchen and saw his box of Cheerios on the counter, suddenly appearing as if out of nowhere. He'd forgotten to put it away. Warmth filled his heart. Bananas, Edmund thought suddenly. I should go to the store to buy bananas now. And some avocados, too. And maybe more Cheerios. Edmund paused. He was surprised by how much he liked the idea. He went over to his revolver and picked it up. He stared at it for a long time. He finally let out a sigh, took the bullets out, and went upstairs to change.